everyone, it's Sevi, and in this video, we're going to be checking out one of Genshin's in-game functions that they recently added. I'm going to be taking a look at, in particular, the fast equip function that they added in version 4.4. I made a video of my thoughts on it, like its usefulness or who it's probably for. But now that it's here, I just want to see like how useful it actually is. Okay? Like the basic premise of the fast equip function, we're just gonna show it right now on my Alhaitham, is that if you... Why did it give me +0 pieces? Okay, anyway. The basic premise is that if you click quick configuration, it's basically going to like automatically choose an artifact build for this chosen character, okay? As you could see, when I did click it for Alhaitham, it tried to do that. And this is what it gave me. And we're gonna talk a little bit about what it gave me. But the function alongside the quick configuration is the custom configuration. And this is a bit more particular, where you have to choose the actual main stat. Oh, and okay, I'm seeing that it's giving me a recommendation for the main stat. So if I choose Elemental Mastery Sands main stat, if I choose Denjo Damage, Goblet main stat, and Crit Rate main stat, okay. And then I'm not going to choose a set type right now. I'm gonna see what it gives me. This is just a demo, by the way. All right, priority minor affixes. We're gonna go for Crit Rate, Crit Damage, Elemental... Huh? I only chose 3. I'm trying to choose attack percentage and it's saying that its max selectable quantity has been reached. Secondary minor affixes. Okay, there's more. We can put EM and attack percentage. Right, okay. So there's priority minor affixes and secondary minor affixes. Okay, that's interesting. Choice. All right, generate me one. Give me an Alhaitham build. All right. That's how it works, okay? We're gonna talk about the actual results in a while. But what really is the objective of this video? Am I just making this to show you my Alhaitham build options? No, actually, we're going to explore it because I have a couple of questions that need answering. First of all, for this fast equip function to be useful, like the bare minimum that I would look for in it, especially for new players or casual players who aren't really that into stat optimizing or artifact optimizing in general, main question is, can it, at the minimum, create a functional build for a chosen character? Now, we kind of know from the information they've told us that the way that it chooses the artifact builds is based on player data. So it kind of uses these recommendations. It uses these recommended stats for the pieces and stuff. Is it enough? Can it give us actually a functional build given a certain character and what they want? My personal hypothesis for this is that it can at least come up with a functional build. Like at the very minimum, hopefully functional with at least the right stat selection. But I am skeptical about what they can do with the ER. Well, I guess with the exception of the 160 ER abomination Alhaitham it gave us earlier. Like, I'm not sure because these recommended affixes, like they don't really have space for substats, which is probably why they leave the substats up to you. And, you know, ER for DPSs usually goes into substats. So we'll see if I'm proven wrong or right there. The next thing is, can it suggest a better build than what I can build? Than how I have built my characters? Honestly, I don't really expect it to. It would be nice if it could match the build quality that I have. We'll see. I'm skeptical about that one just because, you know, basing it off of player data can lack certain nuances and stuff, but we'll see. And then, as we observe, my last question is, how does it actually choose the build? Or what are other things we might observe, other commonalities we might observe? Like, how does it choose where you stop your crit rate? What is enough crit rate? How does it choose when is enough ER? Does it start prioritizing other stats like HP and defense that you don't really need for an attack scaling character at a certain point? You know, things like that. Plus the sets and all that. Alright, so that's basically what we're going to be doing here, and we're going to be taking a look at all of that. That was a whole lot of yap just to lay out what I want to do with this video, so I guess it's just time to start experimenting. Now, I have a few tests prepared, but I kind of want to revisit the Alhaitham test again. So in case you're new to my channel, Alhaitham is like my prized possession. He is my trophy husband. And he is C6, but other than that, it is a 2-piece build, yes, but it is over 35 substats, which is like really high investment. Plus he has his signature. Let's try this again. Quick configuration by Alhaitham. What I will appreciate is that it actually shows you the build before equipping it. Can you imagine if you just press the button and your equipped build is gone? Okay, anyway, let's take a look at this. So it previews to you your current build and then the build it's suggesting. And shit, man. First thing you'll notice is that it prioritized the set bonus, which, you know, if you look at this, it makes sense if you're basing it solely off this, because 64.4% of players use a 4 gilded. It doesn't really consider my 2-piece gilded 2-piece wanderers an ideal build. And as such, it tried to include gilded pieces that I haven't even leveled up, but that match the stats that it identifies as appropriate for Alhaitham. So it's suggesting an EM gilded sands with terrible substat potential. Okay, this isn't even something that I would want to roll. Yeah, I might want to roll the 4th stat, and maybe I'll get lucky and it will give me like a crit stat or an ER stat. But honestly, not something I would want to roll. EM Goblet, yes, you can use an EM Goblet for Alhaitham. It's actually quite competitive with a Dendro Goblet, especially if you're using him on Lo-Fi. This is something that I could take a chance on, but bottom line is that it's suggested plus 0 pieces, which, eh. And you can see that, of course, the stat potential just dropped. It just plummeted. So overall, not really good. This is not nice. This is not something that I like. The only stats that went up, ironically, were HP and defense. Okay, so we're going to try the custom configuration again. See, the thing is, when we generated this the first time, I didn't include a set type, and I put energy recharge in one of its priority minor affixes. So when I generated that, it gave me close to 160% energy recharge, which Alhaitham does not need unless you're just playing him as a Dendro driver. Okay, sure, it's giving it seems to now be prioritizing certain stats over the set because I didn't select a set priority. It's now giving me higher crit rate stats, higher crit damage stats, but lower EM and lower attack stats, which is a little bit concerning, to be honest, but not the best thing. What do we do? What do we get if we go to check alternatives? We just look at my entire artifact inventory, which is not really the convenience that I want. So we're gonna go back and then we're going to do the custom configuration again, but this time I'm going to remove the energy recharge. I'm going to move it over to secondary minor affixes, and then I'm going to remove EM from here and move it to the priority minor affixes, and let's see what it gives. Alright. Stats-wise, this came out a lot better than the previous build, because now that energy recharge has been bumped down to secondary minor affixes, this is like closer to the recommended ER. Okay, we can see that it gave us more crit damage, a little less crit rate, but overall in terms of crit value, this is a net gain. It gave us some higher EM, which is nice, and only slightly lower attack. So like stats-wise, this is a pretty okay build. Yeah, you know what? I would take this. I would actually take this build. Set-wise, it's 2-piece Wanderer's Troop, which gives the EM bonus, plus Rainbow on the other 3, which is okay. It's not completely a lost cause, but stats-wise, alright, yeah, better than before. Significantly better than before. Now, let's see what happens if we do insert a set priority. Here's what I want to know. If we do Gilded Dreams and Wanderers, is it just going to give me back my build? I kind of hope it does. Oh, interestingly, it gave me Cookie's pieces. I have my Cookie on a Hyperbloom build, so I prioritize the EM substats on these, and they just happen to have crit subs and ER subs on them as well. We're getting an increase in EM, but then overall decrease in crit stats. A little bit more ER also. I'm not that happy with this build, to be honest. I don't know why it didn't just feed back my Alhaitham pieces at me. I guess it didn't really match the stat priority I was going for. Alright, one more time. Let's see what happens if I replace the Wanderer's Troop with the Gilded with the Deepwood Memories. real quick. Then we'll move on. Not that happy with this either. The only useful stat that it increased was EM, and not by much. Not enough to compensate the other stats that went down. So, it's like, okay. So far, I think that the closest we got to my build, or the best build that we produced out of this, was when we didn't set an artifact set priority. Stats-wise, it was pretty okay. Now, I do acknowledge that this test right now is a little bit flawed because with regards to the quick configuration, one thing that it does is it only chooses among pieces that are not equipped by anyone except the current character. Whereas, at least in the custom configuration, there's an option in the other options if you can select only artifacts that are not equipped or among all artifacts, whether they're equipped or not. Later, we're going to do a different test that kind of makes use of that limitation. But before that, Yoimiya. So right now she has her Crimson Witch build. This is not as highly invested as my Alhaitham, and this Yoimiya is C0, but it's a build that I'm very happy with. And we're going to see what happens first again with a quick configuration. That's interesting that it went for a two-piece. Wait, why did my crit rate go all the way down to 55%? And the crit damage is like 228%? Okay, what is it prioritizing? So it was looking for Shim set, Echo set, and Crimson Witch. These are supposed to be the quick configuration priorities. However, I don't have a full Echoes set available. This is my only full Crimson Witch set, and the Shiminawa set, I do have a full set. But it's like scattered among my characters right now. I don't know why I didn't just pick those up. Let me take a look at that again. What did it do? Even my EM went down. I'm so sad. It gave me another +0 piece, which, okay, yeah, this is rollable. Definitely rollable. And then this. Okay. So we're gonna go the custom configuration. We're gonna select all. And let's... Well, it's recommending me the attack percentage, so let's go for attack percentage. Gonna go for the Pyro Goblet, and then... Look, I have Sundering Pulse, okay? I prefer to use a crit rate circlet. We're not gonna select a set type yet. We'll put the priority minor affixes. We're gonna get EM as priority since we're using an attack sans, crit rate, crit damage, and then here we're going to put attack, percent, and then some ER. And then, alright, select all. Generate, let's see what happens. Okay, so first run without any set bonuses yet. It shows these artifacts purely out of the stat priority. And you know what? Honestly, out of the stat priority, this is a pretty good build. Attack stat went up, crit rate went down, but only by a little bit. A lot more crit damage, a bit more ER. EM also went up. So stat-wise, okay, it looks like it kind of gets the hang of that. If we don't set any set priorities, it looks like it can get the hang of the stat priorities, honestly. This is not bad. But if we try to follow the set priority, I feel like that's when things start getting messy. So I clicked Shiminawa's right now. It says I don't have enough, or it doesn't fit it well enough, so we're gonna choose Shiminawa Crimson Witch. Alright. So this generated higher attack, higher EM, slightly lower crit rate, slightly lower crit damage, higher ER. What? It keeps choosing the piece that Diona's holding. I don't know why my Diona's holding that, but she's usually on my reserve pieces. Let's just go for Crimson Witch and see if it spits back out my build. Yeah, it did. There we go. Okay. So it just spat back out my build, which is totally fine with me, to be honest. Why not add Glad and other attack percent pieces? Let's see. Let's try that out. So let's try Glad. Glad is the attack percent set that I have the most of. So let's try Glad and Crimson Witch. Guys, we can hit 100 configuration 1, I might just have to switch over to this build. You don't need me anymore. You don't need me anymore, guys. Just use the custom configuration to reach your 100% crit rate. Guide's dead in a ditch. It's fine. It's fine. I can find another job now. And I think the last one I want to try is Bennett. I'm just gonna be like, okay, by default on the quick configuration, how much ER are you going to give me? Yeah! Oh my god, we winning! Oh my goodness, it gave us even more ER. Let's go! Alright! We take that! Equip this. Actually, successfully equipped. What do you think so far, Alhaitham? Has our thirst been knowledge been quenched? That sentence did not make sense. What about Xiangling? We're gonna do the group experiment later on, but since it successfully built Bennett with a lot of ER, let's see what it does for Xiangling. I want to know how much ER it gives Xiangling. Currently, I have 226 ER on her. Crit rate below 50, but that's because she has the catch, right? This is what counts. So, fast equip Xiangling. It gave me an attack sands. My EM sands was like yeeted. I really prefer to use the EM sands over the attack sands. This change in crit stats I'm not really a fan of because, okay, it's trying to bring me closer to the 50% crit rate on the artifacts alone. I wonder if this means it's not really considering my weapon's passive. Maybe it can only read the weapon's stats and be like, okay, this is not a crit rate weapon, so we're gonna get more crit rate from the artifacts. So if we do the custom configuration and then we do the EM... Oh, okay, the recommended for this is ER main sands. Interesting. So if we take the EM sands and the Pyro Goblet and the crit rate circlet, is it going to spit back out my build? We're going to do the emblem set. Okay, I think I went a little bit overboard. At least it got me more EM. Okay, wait. Let me try this. Let me try this again. Is there priority within this priority? No, there's no priority within this priority. If we remove the crit rate, knock it down a peg, because it's giving us like a lot of crit rate. Actually better. The EM is hitting the point where it starts its diminishing returns. Actually better overall though. It is grabbing my Xingqiu's flower and my Beido's feather, which are both better than my Xiangling's. But it cooked for this one. This is good. I'll take that. I think that those are pretty good examples of what we can see from the individual equipping. And the thing is, like I said before, in order to reach the artifacts that are also equipped by other characters, we had to go through the custom configuration. Because quick configuration by default, and there's no way to change this, it only goes for artifacts that are not equipped by anyone else. Okay? What we're going to do now is I'm going to take my emblem users and I'm going to unequip them. So, as we go through them, we can like take a long, hard look at them. So this is my Xingqiu build right now. He's C6, he has Fav. I know crit rate's like 50, whatever. My artifacts all ended up rolling into crit damage, okay? It was a thing. Okay, Xiangling next. So this is my Xiangling build with her stats. Okay. And goodbye. Next, we are going to take Yelan. So my Yelan has an Aqua Simulacra build and a Fav build, but right now she's on her Aqua Simulacra build. Goodbye. And then we're gonna take Beido. So Beido, Serpent Spine build. 4 emblem build. Goodbye. And last is my Raiden. So I don't have Engulfing Lightning on this account. So she's on a Homa build right now. 4 emblem, of course. Goodbye. So we have 5 characters. We're gonna start with Xiangling because we saw some really good potential on the Xiangling there. And let's see now if the fast equip, like the quick configuration, is going to give us like a completely different build because now it has more emblem artifacts to choose from. I'm scared. You know what? It's cooking. I can see it. I can see it. It's working. It definitely still chose the attack sands over the EM sands. But, okay. So I'll take this first. I'll put this on her first. Successfully equipped. Now let's see what it does for Xingqiu, because it took some of his original pieces. Last character is gonna be Satch, I know. But let's see. Ooh, this is way too much ER. This is a Fab C6 Xingqiu. He does fine on 180, 190 ER. Even as a solo Hydro. He really does. He does fine. Okay, he does not need this much. Yeah, I think that's my only main complaint, probably. Well, it definitely came from adding on a lot of substats. See, I would not have given this sans to him. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this one, guys. But for science, we're gonna equip it. Alright, we're gonna do Raiden next. Let's remember the order we're doing this in, guys, because I think for another iteration, I'm gonna try to do it in a different order and see what happens. But Raiden, we're doing Raiden third. You know what? This isn't as bad as I thought it would be. It actually reached 75% crit rate. I thought it would stop at like 60-something. This is pretty good. Obviously biased towards Raiden. I don't know what the heck I did with Xingqiu, man. Alright, we're equipping that one. Next, we're gonna do Beidou. Quick configuration. Alright. This is also a decent build. We actually reached the ER target on substats alone. So, okay. We got that. And then now let's go to Yelan. Can it cook for you too? She will burst once every lantern, right? Plus 0 sands? Oh my god! You're right, it gave her a plus 0 sands. I know what happened here because I know my pieces. What happened is that I took the emblem Hydro Goblet I had and gave it to Xingqiu. When that usually goes to Yelan. Yelan's off piece is supposed to be the sands. Whereas my Xingqiu, his off piece is a goblet. Alright, these are the builds we ended up with. Now I'm going to run it again in a different order. Yelan first. Alright, let this Yelan be cooked. Are you fucking kidding me? I didn't even choose an ER sans, my dude. There's one simple solution to this. Okay, whatever. Continuing on. Raiden. Actually, no, Xingqiu. It's your turn. No! What the fuck is this? It overcooked the ER a little bit here, guys. Okay. Beidou. Beidou. Actually, they cooked okay with Beidou the last time, but let's see. Can I do it again? We got our 1:1 crit ratio. I was about to compliment it on its ER, and then it did this. Why did it choose a crit rate circlet? She was already on Serpent Spine, my guy. Okay, we have to run with this. We continue. Okay, we're gonna put Raiden last, I'm sorry. Actually, no, we'll do Xiangling last, Raiden next. It took the scuffed ER sets. Okay. Last is Xiangling. Okay. Crit rate. Even with the catch, this is only going to hit 51 crit rate, which is like, it's okay. It gave her 200 plus ER at least. But like overall, this is still a decent build. Okay, so we went through the 5 characters again in a different order. The priorities changed in a very interesting way. The Beto, I can't. I honestly, like, what the fuck? The builds were better the first time around. I think I'm done experimenting. Honestly, I don't think I want to do this anymore. I think we've reached the end of this experiment. So, what did we learn? It's a mistake to put Yelan first. It looks like if you have multiple characters fighting for the same stat scaling, like attack scaling and sets, then you kind of have to prioritize them accordingly, because what happened is that when I put Yelan first, she took a lot of the pieces that would have otherwise gone to the attack scaling characters originally, or at least a lot of the pieces that originally went to the other characters first. I guess it's just like divide your scalars accordingly. I think that the AI actually might not have that great of a reading of the weapon that the character is using, like somewhat based off of this build. With Yelan, so she was originally an Aqua Simulacra, right? And it gave her an HP Sands, even though I have another ER Sands available. Even though I have this ER Sands available. Like, yeah, okay, it has an attack substat instead of an HP substat. But on an Aqua build, you need the ER Sands. Unless you're playing her in Triple Hydro or something. Because currently, like, what it gave her on the Aqua build was 131% ER, which is, like, nowhere near enough in the teams that I play her in as a solo Hydro. And it's based off of this, wherein the pick rate for the Sands, HP dominates. Like, it really dominates. And I hope that means that a lot of players are using Fav Yelan. Like, you know, I hope that's what it's indicative of. Of course, that's not necessarily true. So, my simple solution to this was just to switch over to Fav Yelan so that she would have her appropriate ER. In terms of the other pieces, it prioritized the HP subs, which is nice, desirable. It did the Raiden build okay both times. Actually, it did the Raiden build quite well both times. I'm pleasantly surprised how consistent it is with the Raiden build. The Xiangling build could have been better, but the first time was like okay. I think the first time was good. If I'm remembering correctly, the first time was good. The Xingqiu build, the first time, not that great. The second time, still not that great. Let's look at the preferences for the Xingqiu build. What's it doing for the ER? Okay, attack percent for the ER, hydro damage. Like, it's taking all of those, but it still went quite overboard with the ER. He's already on Fav, R3, he's C6, he doesn't need this much ER. Not sure what's going on there. I guess to top it off, would I recommend this feature for new players? Honestly, if you are a new or casual player that does not want to bother with artifact building, selecting, whatever, like, in my honest opinion, this is still better than nothing. Still better than having to do everything from scratch and not really understanding what you're doing. It gives you a starting point at the very least, and if it actually cooks well enough and you have the pieces for it to cook with, it can actually give you a good build. But as we saw from the individual tests and the group tests with the emblem users, it can't handle certain nuances, or at least it seems to have difficulty reading certain nuances. And those nuances can range from ER with regards to how constellations can affect ER needs, weapons with regards to the weapon substat, as we saw with Beidou. I think that the most egregious issue is probably Yelan's ER. That one might be like the most felt by a new player, possibly. Now, the custom configuration, I think that this is a kind of an okay way to like get to know your artifacts a little bit more. If you're a casual player who's ready to move from doing the quick equip and then wanting to be more specific, then this is like at least an okay way to sort things. I think that one of the bigger limitations that I saw in the individual test especially, and we saw this earlier, is that it seems to prioritize the set recommendation way too much for the quick configuration. And then the stats are like secondary. And this isn't something I'm a fan of, because as we saw in the Alhaitham build earlier, like it really forced its way to a gilded build, even if I have like clearly better Wanderers pieces, leveled up Wanderers pieces that have overall better stats. I think that's a pretty noticeable issue. So I do wonder if this function can be improved in the future. Like if the devs will work on refining it. or if it's going to be able to take in more data into account, for example, or if it can learn to be more flexible with set options, or at least soupy set options. I feel like that would be a big step if it can be more flexible with that. And yeah, I think that that's pretty much all I have to say about that right now. Let me know in the comments if you had any observations for yourself, whether it's something that you saw in this video, or if it's something that you also tried to play with on your own account. I think that this is a fun experiment to do, honestly, because, for example, there are certain equipment that I don't have on this account that might have affected some builds, like certain weapons, for example, but it might be an interesting experiment for you if you want to play around with what your builds can have, what it generate, and you know, how certain weapons might complement that better. But that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed this video and you got to gain a good idea of what the Genshin AI can cook for you. So if you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like on this video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I will see you very soon. Take care.